What's going on, my fellow collectors? Jim here with another figure review, and today we're going back to the 1990s. Let's take a look at the Kenner Batman Quick Change Bruce Wayne figure. Now the packaging, I bought this guy down in Florida when we went on vacation just recently, so I had to remove him from the packaging, which was horrible anyway. You know, that's if it was a nice, neat card, I would have kept it on box, but I went ahead and opened it up, just better for the nostalgia reason anyway, you know. But yeah, this is the old Kenner figure based on the old Tim Burton Batman movies. Very, very cool figures. A lot smaller than I remember, but man, getting them in hand now, it's definitely cool for the nostalgia fact of it, you know. But taking a closer look at the Bruce Wayne figure that this comes with, as you can see, even back in the 90s, man, they did a pretty decent job with the head sculpts. You know, I mean, that for the most part looks like Michael Keaton. And then, of course, we do have his little black sweater with this kind of bat symbol, or I always thought this was a bat symbol kind of painted on there. Maybe it's not, but it kind of looks like a bat symbol to me. And then we do have some gray lines kind of painted in there. A little bit of muscle sculpting, a little bit of lines. Very basic figure. Yeah, this is what we grew up on, though, man. Get a little bit of sculpting down here in his shoes, and you do have a fist and a gripping hand, because he does come with this big, huge radio, which I will show you. But the articulation on these figures is pretty basic. You know, back in the day, you got swivel at the head, that was about it. The arms swivel all the way around, and the legs go forward and back. That was about all you were getting. There's two peg holes at the bottom. He does come with his little communication device, which on the box states that this is how he would, you know, call to change into his bat suit. But look at that man pajama. That big old 90s cell phone right there, man. But yeah, so he does come with his little radio activator. This has a little bit of sculpting details in it. This does have this little like mechanism, so you can kind of make it sound like he's, you know, connecting or, you know, pressing dials or something like that. But you have the little antenna on the top. He does hold it well for the most part. But the one coolest feature about this Batman figure is he comes with all these parts of the Batman suit that you can put on him. So I always thought that was so cool. You do get kind of like his boots, and these of course, you know, are done to look like the movie, and they actually did a pretty decent job with the sculpting, you know, to make him look like the, you know, 89 Tim Burton Batman movie. Even though, I mean, there is some differences, because technically the way that this looks is from the Tim Burton, the 89 Batman movie. But then, of course, you look at the actual symbol, and you can see the symbol is missing the little wings within the bat of the symbol. But as far as the belt and the way everything's sculpted and everything, is to kind of match that first movie. But as you can see, there is a little slit down the back of these. These are kind of done with a kind of, you know, plasticky soft kind of vinyl. And you just kind of clip these right over his legs. A little easier said than done. So you can pop one over the left leg and then put one on his right leg. Maybe try to stretch them out first before you go doing that. But yeah, that's how you get his boots on. You can see they just kind of like, you know, fit on him as they kind of shape back together. They are going to kind of make him look a little bit big and bulky. That's the one thing I remember with this figure. It definitely puts a lot of size on him just because of the way, you know, the two plastics are. But yeah, that's him with his boots on. And of course you can place his chest piece on. And this just has a good old tab mechanism. So you just put his little chest armor on, bring the belt around the back, tab that in. Man, this is hard to do. Sorry if you hear my kids downstairs acting crazy. This is hard to do on camera like this. But you see what I'm saying. That tabs in to that part somehow, and I'll get that in a second here. But then, of course, you do have two gloves. Now, the one glove that will fit right over the top of his hand does come with a batarang attached, and I always thought that these were the ones that kind of looked more goofy than anything else of the costume, because they're just so big on his hands, you know. I know I'm still struggling with this buckle. There it goes. And then we have the other fist hand. You just kind of slide that over, cram that down in there. So you can see how much bigger it makes his hands look once you get, you know, the boots and the fist on there. And then of course you do have the cowl and cape connected that you can then kind of squeeze over his head. And I remember the one that I had ended up splitting down the sides here, and it probably happened to a lot of us kids growing up, you know, or you miss some of the pieces, because the more you would take this on and off, just the more out of shape and warped the pieces would get, you know. But I mean, yeah, that's what he looked like. It's really cool. The cape was a cloth cape, and it does have the little, you know, Batman scallops on it, so that's cool. Has a little bit of a wingspan on it, you know, very, you know, translucent, you know, you can see. Very thin cape, but it is cool. It does have the little Batman span on it, about that much. And yeah, I mean, taking a closer look at the mask, I think it turned out pretty good. I always dig the chest piece on this guy. I always thought, even as a kid, his arms, his hands and boots made him look silly and kind of out of proportion, but you know, back then we didn't really care too much, because this is what we had, man, and this was awesome at its time, and still even awesome now. But yeah, I picked this guy up at a comic book shop down in Florida that we went to, and the guy charged what, like $25 for it. And I was trying to kind of barter him down a little bit because I was buying a couple of other figures from him. He just wasn't budging on the price at all, and the package was horrible. Hopefully, if I can get the pictures off of my phone prior to this video, I'll throw the pictures of the packaging up, because I had to, you know, take everything out of the packaging that I bought down there in Florida to bring back up to Maryland on the plane. But measuring this guy out, it looks like even with to the top of his ears, he was a little over 4 3/4 inches, and then the figure itself, the Bruce Wayne figure, is probably about 4.5 inches tall. So definitely on the smaller side. But yeah, that was a blast to the past and taking a look at an old 90s Kenner Batman figure. Very cool. As you can see, even the gloves and like the Batarang have some nice, you know, sculpted details in them. You get the lines on the gloves and even on the Batarang. You got his little fins. So yeah, I mean, for what it was, a very, very cool figures. But that was a look at it and the review. Very cool. If you can find one of these, you know, for nostalgia reasons, I would definitely keep them in the packaging. But you know, if you can find one for a pretty decent price, taking him out of the packaging, he is going to make a pretty cool piece up on the shelf, whether you want him to stay as Bruce Wayne or in the costume. But that was the review. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next figure review.